Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Back for the last card of 2020, guys. UFC Vegas 45. Holidays are around the corner, and the new year as well. PGA is on a break already. UFC will be after this weekend. NFL, NBA, and NHL will continue rolling on like normal. What an exciting card last week. What an exciting card. UFC 269. We've seen a little bit of everything. I'll briefly go over the main event matchups for you guys. So let's get right into that before we get into this week's card. We got to start with Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley. The guy's the real deal. At least from a striking standpoint. I think he's one of the best strikers in that division and maybe in the entire UFC. Very crafty, very hard to predict. His feints are next level, top level. Great striker. Timing is excellent. And he's officially ranked, guys. He is finally ranked in the division. 13th, ranked 13th. Just below a few guys. One being Chito Vera, obviously Cruz, few others. Just above Song Yadong there and Cody Stamann. I'd love to see the Chito Vera rematch. That needs to happen. I do think it's going to happen again. Is it going to happen in his next fight? Maybe not. But I would love to see that rematch. We all know what happened there. Maybe Frankie Edgar, possibly, even though I think O'Malley would piece him up due to the speed difference. Maybe even a Song Yadong. I think Song Yadong is a fast fighter. I think he's a good fighter, and I think that fight will be on the feet, which should favor O'Malley. Impressive win by Cara France, right? I got to give him a quick shout out. Stopped Cody in the first. You know, big question now is what's next for Cody? What's next for Cody Garbrandt? He's in a very tough spot, right? He went down in weight, expecting he's going to get a title shot if he beats Cara France. He doesn't. He gets smoked in the first. What is he going to go back up now? And who is he going to fight, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if Cody maybe takes a break, a long break, decides what he wants to do next. But, knowing him, I wouldn't be surprised also if he gets back in there. For Cara France, some rumblings about him getting a title shot. I don't agree. I don't think he should get a title shot next. I think he should fight one more time. He's only on a 2-fight winning streak. Yes, a couple two impressive wins because they were by finishes, but one more fight until he gets that title shot. Neil and Ponzinibbio, close fight. I was on the Ponzi side. I did have a small play for clients. I thought Neil stole it in the third just because he was a little more active, but very close fight. Just one of my few losses on the night. Pena. What can we say about Pena? What an upset. What an impressive performance. Confident going into the fight, and now we know why she's been confident for years. Now you know why she was calling out Amanda, because she wasn't scared to fight her. She put the pressure on her, and that's the way to beat her. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. Don't be shell-shocked because you see Amanda Nunes in front of you. Put the pressure, and Nunes is human, and she cracked under pressure. I was very impressed about Pena. I didn't see it happening. I did think she could put up a fight, and it did go. I was on over in the rounds. That was one of my bets. But, I did think it could go to a decision, even though I thought Amanda would eventually win the fight and probably find a later finish. But, hey, Pena at that price, possibly one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. I think it's top 3, definitely. Someone would argue other fights, right? GSP, Sarah, that's probably a little bigger. But, hey, Pena, all credit to her. She called the fight. She said what she was going to do, and she did it. And, I think Amanda obviously comes back strong. There obviously was questions. How hard was she training for Pena? Did she take Pena seriously? All those questions. And they were answered, and it seems like she did it, right? So I definitely see a rematch next for Pena. I think Amanda just needs some time off, and they'll get there. And last but not least, Charles Oliveira. Such an impressive performance from Charles. So many weapons the guy has. And the submission, the most dangerous, is the one that he found and catches Poirier in the third. I didn't have a bet on the side. Obviously, I'm a Poirier guy. So I did, obviously, was rooting for Poirier. I didn't bet Poirier. I did have the fight not to go the distance as a best bet with another fight, which we did cash on. Just ton of respect for Charles and Poirier as well. I think Poirier was the better guy on the feet. I did expect that, but I did mention if it gets to the ground or in the submission game, Charles Oliveira has a great shot to win the fight. And at plus money, it's definitely worth a look. Next matchup for Charles, I don't know. I think it probably will be Gaethje. Connor was calling him out. That would be interesting. But probably Gaethje, and I think Charles wins that fight as well. I think he just gets him on the ground, gets him in submission, and I can see Charles winning that as well. Let's get into the weekly update, guys. Weekly update. Profitable UFC 269. Best bet winner with main event doesn't go the distance. And Cruz and Munoz over 2.5 rounds. We got that at minus 115, minus 110. 65% best bets over 2.5 years, guys. That's long-term winning right now. 66% long-term UFC run. All fights, you see that here. And the units as well, over 45 units. NBA 26 and 10, 73% NBA season currently. Great season so far. COVID's been a little tricky as of late, guys. So a lot of NBA scratches late or throughout the day. So you really got to do your research. I got screwed on Monday. Had a tough day on Monday because of Embiid. A late scratch. Like this wasn't even COVID. This was just like a scratch like 2 minutes before tip-off. You can't do anything about that. You just get screwed over in those type of calls. PGA outright winner last week. Kokrak and Na. Plus 550. Great way to end the PGA break with an outright winner. 6 outrights last 15 events, guys. 70% best bets over 63 units in the prop market. Can't wait for the PGA to be back January 6th so I can continue to attack that market. NFL, another free play outright winner for you guys last week. 10-3 on the year for you guys in free play underdog outright winners. Teaser winner also, so we're getting back on track in the teaser market. Few bad beats last week for me personally. Browns minus 2.5, win by 2, up by, 16 in the fourth or late third. That's a tough beat. And Bills too, plus 3.5. Overtime bomb to Pierman, who hasn't made a catch for years, and he gets the catch and they win in overtime by a touchdown. He's got to have some bad beats when things are going good, guys. NHL, low volume in the NHL continues. System Sports Capping, guys. Systemsportscapping.com to become a client today. Still $100 off. Full year packages all of December. Please like, subscribe to the channel, and comment. Share with friends as well. Let's get right into the card. Let's get right into this card. Great card. I like the card. It's fairly deep. We got some good fights. Remember, shop around for best prices because this is not the best price. Main event, guys. Derek Lewis plus 120 versus Chris Daukaus minus 140. Interesting main event. I didn't think they would move Daukaus this fast to a main event, in my opinion, versus a dangerous guy in Lewis. However, he continues to win, and he's winning in an impressive fashion. Now, the level of competition these two guys face is drastically different. You do have to look at that. You do have to factor that in. Chris's last 2 wins were against aging guys in their 40s, Olenek and the Russian Abdurakhmanov, right? So that's something you got to look at. Before that, nothing really to mention. I'm not going to even mention the guys he beat. Now, all the wins very impressive, all KOs. TKO, and he did look good in those fights. I just don't really understand the price here. I think it's more of like a pick'em style fight, just because we haven't seen Chris fight in a main event. We haven't seen him fight to a level of Lewis. And yes, I do understand why he's favored. I'm going to mention a couple things here. He's going to be a lot quicker than Derek Lewis. His hands are very quick for the division, and he somewhat moves like a lightweight. So facing Lewis, he is a slower guy, but he always has that KO chance, right? That 1 in 10 chance that Lewis finds that. If they fought, I think if they fought maybe 10 times, Daukaus would win 7, I'm thinking. But Lewis always has that KO ability. He has the experience in the big fights. He's fought for titles. He's been in a ton of main events. Chris' first main event, huge step up in competition for him. And due to that, I can't just be confident in laying the minus 140, even though I do lean Chris Daukaus to win this fight due to everything I just mentioned. I do think he gets the job done. But what I really like in this fight is the fight not to go all 5 rounds. You're obviously going to pay a hefty price for that. However, you can have it as a parlay piece due to the steep price. Under in rounds is also a look. I could see it getting out of the first round. We haven't seen Daukaus go too late in fights. We have seen Lewis at times, not a bunch of times, but at times go, 3 rounds or deeper if it was a 5-round fight. But Daukaus, we haven't. We haven't really seen him out of the first or second round, right? So that will be interesting to see if Lewis can last that long. And see if that fight does get past the second round. See how Chris Daukaus' cardio will look. Because Chris is going to attack the finish. So if he isn't able to get that finish, Lewis hangs on and lasts. Be interesting to see. Chris Daukaus, black belt also in jiu-jitsu. So if it does get to the ground or if it can get to the ground, I think Lewis could be in trouble. I think Chris Daukaus is just pretty much better everywhere besides power. Right? The only thing I can say, Lewis has the more power. And obviously the experience and level of fights, the big main events, etc. I think Chris Daukaus gets it done here, guys. And it's hard for me to say that this fight's going to go all 5 rounds. So that's going to be my play, and I'm going to have it in somewhat of a 2-fight parlay. I haven't figured it out as of yet. I do got to watch the weigh-ins, a couple more interviews, but that's my favorite play here. Under in the rounds, and the fight not to go the distance. Next fight, co-main event, Thompson minus 230 versus Muhammad plus 190. I think this fight could be the main event, but we have the heavyweight stealing the shine here. I can already picture how this fight goes, guys. And it's going to be similar to that Burns versus Thompson fight. Muhammad should have stole a path to victory from the fight, and it is to wrestle, right? Wrestle, try to get this to the ground, try to keep Thompson to play the distance game. Thompson wants to strike. He wants to use that karate and play a distance game, right? Now, Belal, he's more of a well-rounded guy. I don't think he's a wrestler. I don't think he's really good at anything. He's just very durable, tough, and he's fairly well-rounded. He's pretty good everywhere, in my opinion. He's not really known for wrestling. He's not known for takedowns. So I don't think he's going to... I think he'll have a problem getting Thompson to the ground. I don't think he will be able to. And level of competition, obviously drastically different as well. The matchup on the feet isn't great for Belal. The karate style is going to be tough, not just for Belal, but for anybody to handle. And that's why guys will look to try to take Thompson down. That's what Burns did. Burns had to make it ugly to win that fight. Otherwise, he would have lost if it stayed on the feet. So, I expect Thompson to get this done, guys. I think he should be able to... I don't see a finish here. I can see Thompson winning by decision here. I think Muhammad's durable enough to last. We did see him get rocked in that Edwards fight, though. Remember that. So Thompson could find like a wild head kick. That's how Edwards got him, with a head kick. And Thompson can maybe get a TKO finish. But, I lean more decision. If you don't want to pay that hefty price, minus 230 with Thompson, I can definitely see a decision for Thompson here, and this fight to make the scorecard. So, the over 2.5 rounds, distance, and Thompson to get the job done. Lemos minus 360. I'm thinking more should be 260 versus Hill plus 280. Hill's taking this one on short notice, but she does stay ready for these calls, lives in Vegas, and is ready for short notice. She's taken short notice fights before, so this isn't anything crazy. Lemos is has a nice solid 4-fight win streak here. Back-to-back finishes as well. No great opponents, but she is finding ways to get the job done. She's looking clean doing it as well. Hill's a vet, been around the block. I think she should be game for this fight. I think she puts up a good fight. I think this fight goes to the judges' scorecards. I don't really get this line, to be honest. Tons of value with Hill. We've seen Hill do well in this position before, even though, I won't bet Hill, but I understand if you put a sprinkle or a small bet on Hill at plus 280. This line's off, in my opinion. I think it should be minus 200, minus 240, in my opinion. Lemos does have a solid striking and big power advantage, I think. here, especially in for this division. So I do think she finds a way to get the job done. But if you put a sprinkle on Hill, I wouldn't call you crazy. I do think she has a path here. I will be betting Lemos due to the price. I won't even put it in a parlay here. If I can get a decision prop or the fight to go to the decision at a good price, I may look that way. If you can get plus money on Lemos to win by decision, I suggest to pull the trigger there. But I won't be laying a price in this fight. Next fight here, Rafael Assunção's back, guys. Plus 230 versus Ricky Simón minus 280. Now their line is tough here. There are a few, three or four fights on this main card. I think the line's off, which means there's value with the underdog. Assunção hasn't been in there for a while, though, right? Year and a half, which is a little concerning. And he's on a 3-fight losing streak. All right, so this is why I see the line being plus 230, plus 240 in different books. If you remember last time he got KO'd by Cody Garbrandt. That was Cody's last win for a while, 1-5 in his last since 2017. These losses are against good guys though. Corey Sandhagen, Moraes, and then Cody Garbrandt. So those are top level guys. Rafael's getting older though for this division, where it asks you to be fast in this division, asks you to be quick. He is 39 now. Simón, very active fighter, good everywhere, solid wrestler. I think I maybe lean Rafael being the better striker. But Simón's very active, very agile. He can move, very athletic. And I think he just chain wrestles in this fight to find a path to victory. I get why he's favored. I don't love the 280. I just can't bet him at 280. It would have to be a decision prop. Could he find a finish? Sure, but I don't see it. I can see him just more wrestling, controlling the ground game, doing some ground and pound, and maybe Rafael lasting. So if you want to look at Simón, look at the decision prop here. You got to also look at the competition that Simón's been facing. Right? It's fairly weak. Brian Kelleher, Perello, and Ray Borg, who's a goner, and he's out of the UFC. So you got to keep that in mind. Level of competition between these two guys are huge. Rafael Assunção's a veteran. He could have took that year off, could have regrouped, and he could get back and get a big win here at a big plus money dog. That's why I'm not going to be attacking Ricky Simón. And I say you guys, be cautious if you're going to bet him or put him in a 2-fight parlay. If you're going to bet him, you're going to want to get plus money somehow. And you can probably get some low plus money on Ricky Simón by decision. But I wouldn't be shocked if this fight goes all 3 rounds. So the over in 2.5 rounds is a look as well. Diego Ferreira, plus 165 versus Miguel Gamrot, minus 195. This is a good one. This is a very interesting fight, which I do think, Ferreira could be live as well. Diego Ferreira is coming off back-to-back losses against Gillespie and Darush. Top-level, solid competition. He's been having trouble with weight over the years. He's a big for the division. But in those 2 fights, he just seemed a bit behind in those guys. And Gamrot's a solid wrestler, and that's what caused Ferreira the problems. Both those guys were able to take him down, Diego Ferreira. Even though Diego Ferreira has a very solid ground game, not a great wrestler. He's a very high-level black belt, so he could be dangerous off the bottom. But, Gillespie was able to smother him, and Darush, he's very high-level on the ground as well. I do expect Gamrot to chain wrestle here. Training with Mike Brown, I expect him to have a smart game plan here. Ferreira has gas later in fights too. So, I can see that. I can see Gamrot controlling, great cardio. He's 19-1 for a reason, guys. I think Gamrot maybe controlling here. Diego kind of gassing out. But he is a live dog if he can get the Gamrot early. And, guys fighting off 2 losses is always scary. Always scary, guys, to bet against guys that could be, I'm not going to say he's going to get cut, but you know how it works. You lose 3 fights in a row, you're on the chain block to getting cut. It is doable that you get cut. So you're going to expect Diego Ferreira to get in there, give everything that he has against Gamrot, and he could catch Gamrot here at plus 165. But I do see the path to Gamrot because we have seen it against Diego Ferreira before, and it is to wrestle, and Gamrot's a great wrestler. So it's very hard for me to get to Ferreira plus 165. This is a fight I'm not going to be betting just because I am a little worried about the dog here pulling through. So I'll leave this one. But I do think the over 2.5 rounds is attractive here. Fun one to open up the main card, guys. Swanson minus 200 versus Elkins plus 170. Steep for Swanson. I can never bet Cub Swanson at minus 200 versus most people. This should be a fun one to open up the main card, though. Both guys love to take the damage, and funny enough, the guy's nickname is Damage. Elkins, the guy has damage tattooed on his chest. For some of you casuals that might not know that, yes, it's true. He can take a ton of damage. Perfect tattoo for this guy. Elkins has been finished only once since 2013, and it was a TKO. Swanson's coming off that tough TKO against Giga. Giga's a stud body kick. It just drops Swanson. Then you can see Elkins maybe we're trying to work that body because he did take a card out of Giga's game plan there. Question with Cub is how much does he have left? Before that Giga fight, though, guys, he was looking good. He pulled up a couple good wins together. Giga's just on a different level than Swanson at this point in his career. I expect Swanson to find a way to win this fight. Dude, he's just much more skilled than Elkins. Elkins just will continue to come forward, and he's probably the tougher guy. But just a level of striking and all-around MMA game, Swanson's better pretty much everywhere. Elkins just tougher, right? So when I have those two combined, I think Swanson probably wins by decision here. You can get it at a much better price. Minus 200, difficult to get to. I won't even put minus 200 in a parlay with Cub Swanson. So again, you can get that plus money. I would look that way. I think if it's a stoppage, it's like a cut. Maybe a cut or TKO because Elkins is just getting beat down. But I think the referee should be pretty good on Elkins. They know he's tough and he can take shots. I just think the price with minus 200 on a Cub Swanson is too high. So look at the decision prop and the over 2.5 rounds and the decision. That will do it, guys. That will do it. The last UFC video for 2021. I just want to thank all my viewers, loyal viewers. You know who you are. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to try to grow this channel as much as we could the next year and in 2022. That's my goal, to get it bigger, get it out there more. I'll be featuring on some podcasts. I'll have some new tricks up my sleeve to try to get some more viewers as well. I just want to thank all you guys for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.